$362 million. What in the fuck, dude? That's crazy.
It is fucking nuts. It's fucking.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. Wait a second. How much?
Well, if you've ever bought Bitcoin in the past, you were in profit. Just that feeling. It's just very nice.
That's bearish. That's bearish on the team. I don't like that at all. Hello, and welcome to Soul Brothers with my dear friend Eno and myself, Simon, where it's our job to throw you inside the crypto rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting ecosystem.
Our mission is to keep you on top of the latest and greatest things that are going on in Solana so that you never run out of fun things to talk about with the homies. Hey, Simon, how are you doing?
I'm good, my friend. I'm doing well. The question is, how are you in this early morning in California today?
Yeah, man. No, the jet lag is hitting me pretty hard. I had a couple of calls last night too, so I landed, spent time with the family. Dude, I slept in the middle of dinner. Like my parents were talking to me, and I was just like, was not able to focus. So yeah, I apologize if I'm a little fuzzy right now, but super happy to be talking with you.
You don't appear to be in a time zone where it's like 6 a.m. in the morning right now. Is that correct?
Yeah. Right.
That's insane, man. You're crazy.
Yeah,
But anyway, I appreciate the hustle, and I appreciate the commitment to the Soul Brothers to wake up
of
at
course.
such an early hour.
I mean, you're literally at like a shisha bar or something like that right now. So I mean, I could say likewise for you.
No, bro, this is my office. Like, I'm here every day. I'm working here every day. The people know me. I walk in, I get my espresso, I get my shisha, and I start working.
Right.
That's what we do. That's how we roll. And yeah, what are we doing here? We are recording another session of the Soul Brothers podcast. We already have a few episodes in. We're at episode number 8 now of the Soul Brothers pod, a brand new podcast on the block that is intending to cover all things Solana. We are trying to help you guys keep up to date with all the crazy things that happen on the Solana ecosystem. And there's so much to talk about all the time. This week is fucking packed, you know. I don't know where to start.
Well, I think we start where we usually start, which is with the markets. I think it's like a good little tradition to ground ourselves before we go deep into the weeds of all the little weird stuff that's been happening.
Yeah, lots to cover. I think our agenda is packed today, so I think honestly, you know, I think we should dive into it because I think a good way to start these sessions is always with a quick view, a quick glance on what's happening on Solana right now, actually. And as we see in the, let's zoom out a bit and let's check the daily chart, and it looks freaking bullish, guys. I don't know what to say, but it looks like we're going up to the right into the corner, which is always nice to look at. This is a bull market chart, ladies and gentlemen. Classical bull market chart. Long time of kind of boring ass builder period where we just, you know, like just building our products, nothing is happening. We're all kind of waiting for the market to pick up again. And now we're here, and we should deeply appreciate this moment we're in right now. Solana's trading at $220, and we're about to rip through the roof. I don't know if we are actually, but we might we might see another breakout sometime soon. No financial advice, but my personal opinion right now is that we're in a consolidation phase right now, trading sideways a little bit in a larger downwards wave that it could potentially break out to the upside again. And I'm expecting, or I don't know if I want to call $300 until Christmas, but I wouldn't say it's unrealistic to approach the $300 until the end of this year, because if this goes through the roof, then we can see a good breakout. Looking at the Bitcoin chart, you know, we are at all-time high. We are
Holy
literally
crap.
you know that? Did you
Wow.
realize this?
I did not
Like,
realize that.
look at
It's
this.
like,
Like, this is
I
insane.
just love that
Like,
feeling of, well, if you've ever bought Bitcoin in the past, you were in profit. Just that feeling is just very
yeah,
nice.
exactly. And even here, I think there's still room to breathe towards the upside here. For
Yep.
now, we're a bit hesitant because obviously at $107,800, obviously the market is a bit indecisive where to go next.
Yep.
But in my opinion, just for the listeners right now, we're recording on the 17th of December, and I think this week we might push a bit higher to $110,000 before we might see another pullback. But there's still a lot room in the midterm or long term for Bitcoin as well. Looking at the Bitcoin dominance right now, we also picked up again a little bit. We've been down to 55% actually for a while here. I think back then, yeah, like 55%. And now we're breaking out again to the upside a bit. In the past few days and weeks, we've seen a bit more capital flow back into Bitcoin and a bit flowing out of the altcoin sector. So yeah, I wouldn't call for an altcoin season yet. I think Bitcoin still has some room to breathe, but it will come. It will come very soon. So I think markets overall look really bullish on the chart, and also in terms of what's going on in the ecosystem. I think it just proves that we are in the bull market because there's a lot to cover.
Yeah, I think one little comment that I'd love to make, just in terms of where I think the market is going to go. Like right now, we're seeing a lot of play with meme coins. Obviously, that doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. But I think that as you know, Solana really pumps. Like let's say it gets closer to 300 or $400 mark. You're going to see, I think, a return back to fundamentals. So right now, it's just very much like what has the biggest mind share. But there's like a bunch of what I believe to be nascent tokens. Like obviously Orca token, Radium, like all of these kind of protocol tokens are doing relatively well. But I think that's where you'll see the most upside, especially since these are the projects that are literally powering the Solana economy, right? And so if
Yeah,
you'll see the Solana price pump, then obviously the protocols that are powering the rest of Solana's growth, I think will do very well. But right now, the money seems to be very much concentrated into memes. But I think there will be a rotation to fundamentals at some point.
the rotation is already happening, I would say, because Bitcoin at $107,000. Um, there's a lot of money flowing to Bitcoin as well, not just memes. I think memes did simmer down a little bit. There was
Yep.
a huge hype this year, but we see a bit more. People understand right now that the meme play is risky and it's a gamble. They kind of burned their fingers a bit this year, and they're looking for new opportunities. So there is a shift in narrative happening again, more towards, I was about to say solid utility tokens without a no pun intended here. I mean it as I say it. Solid utility tokens that are being born inside of the Solana ecosystem and also other chains. Right, there's a lot going on right now. But there's one thing actually that's not on our agenda, and we're going to cover it in the future episodes more and more because right now we're still a bit far away from it. But did you know that there's Solana unlocks happening actually in the first quarter of 2025? Have you heard about it?
What is Solana unlocked? I have no idea what that is.
There's tokens that are basically hitting their cliff and they're getting unlocked. They're getting into circulation that are not yet circulating.
Right, right, right.
I think we're gonna cover them more in depth in the future episodes. But in I think in January, February, and March, with February being the biggest month in terms of unlocks, there will be unlocks that are associated with the FTX Alameda drama. And
Mhm.
yeah, those tokens will basically enter the market, and usually those events are considered bearish because they provide selling pressure, especially inside of a bull market.
Mhm.
If Solana hits the 300, 400, $500 in the next kind of couple of months, and then unlocks as this happen, that might put some selling pressure on. And I would even go so far and say that right now, the Solana chart looks much less bullish than Bitcoin if you put them side by side, because of things like this. It's in the back of the minds of some people. Yeah, just wanted to throw it out there already. It's going to happen. But like I said, I think we can cover this in more detail and depth.
Buy the dip, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. For us, those events are opportunities.
I think one of the first things that we should cover, just right after prices, is just kind of almost an existential question about, how will quantum computing affect cryptography, right? Like I certainly don't have enough in depth knowledge of exactly how quantum computing might be able to crack certain codes that like through previous like technologies would take like I don't know like hundreds of years to crack. So practically speaking, like it's not worth the amount of effort. But maybe quantum computing changes that equation, and so Google has launched obviously Willow, new state of the art computing chip, released by um, Google. So just really curious about what this will do for like let's say Bitcoin. Does that mean that a quantum chip would be able to solve hashes super fast and like mint a bunch of Bitcoin? Like I'm not quite so sure, but Bitcoin has a fixed supply I think of 21 million. So like I'm a little confused about what this means exactly. What are your general impressions and thoughts on the quantum chips?
Well, I think the risks here that we associate with this is basically the cryptographically or the cryptographic safety of our wallets, of our wallet accounts, that are right now not really crackable. Like you can crack down on crypto wallets, you can hack them, they're super safe. But what happens if there's a algorithm that can compute so fast that it can compute the private key of Satoshi's Bitcoin wallet that is
Yep.
basically silent. It's dormant, right? So it's a wallet that right now no one might have access to it. We don't know it. If it's really dormant and the Bitcoins in Satoshi's wallet are there in perpetuity, it's bullish right now until that wallet get hacked. That would be
Yeah.
very bearish. So I think cracking down on cryptographic private keys is a big kind of anxiety that some people in the crypto space have when it comes down to quantum computers. And Willow, Google's new quantum computer or supercomputer, basically solved standard computations that normally would take more than 10 quadrant 25 years. I don't know how to say that in English. Like, you know what I mean?
10
Like,
to the 25th power. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Like it would take a lot of years, to put it that way, for a leading supercomputer, and Willow could crack this computation in less than 5 minutes. So it's definitely there's some compute power associated with this. I think we should be at least concerned. But I think also the pace the crypto industry innovates in is our biggest asset here. That's our biggest
Sure.
strength we have. And I think why supercomputers evolve on the other side will also improve our cryptographic kind of security net that we have.
I'm just like worried that perhaps I don't know, like they could brute force their way into the seed phrase for Satoshi's wallet. Would that even be? I mean, that just sounds insane to me, right? But if it's as advanced as they say, and like this is just the beginning, then that would be kind of crazy.
That's why I say we should have it on our radar. We should follow the developments there. We shouldn't like be like
Sure.
too confident here, to like
Mhm.
we got this, like no problem. I think it could be an existential risk. But yeah, from my point of view, let's just watch it from the sidelines and make sure we innovate towards secure cryptographic future where we can actually stay safe.
I saw this one Mert tweet. Someone's going to raise a $10 million round for like a quantum proof L1 within the next month, and I'm like, dude, that is so true. so,
And
someone's making
I've
that
been
deck literally right now.
for sure, man. Like I've been talking to teams 2 years ago. I met a team at a conference. They were building a quantum proof blockchain. No idea what happened to them, but there's been people earlier already that considered that. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's watch these things. But I think for now, it's just too good to keep in mind there is innovations such as Willow from Google that push the edge in quantum computing.
We have quite a few token launches on Solana this week. So I think the first one that we're going to start off with is Magic Eden. So Magic Eden was super hyped. I think I don't know. Some folks were very upset with their allocation. They feel like they traded a shit ton of NFTs on Magic Eden. Other people are just kind of happy that they got something. I'm not quite. I'm not. I was never really big on NFTs. So I mean, did you get an Emmy drop?
I'm not an ME user, and I never was one. So I didn't get anything.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could frankly give a shit. This is whatever to me, but the price got super pumped, and the classic, Christmas tree pattern. I think there was actually two of them. These kind of like pump and dumps, and a lot of folks, they staked their ME for I think 3-4 months, and they got fucking wrecked. They should, but you can never tell with these things. So a little sad for ME holders. Generally, I don't think it didn't go as well as hoped.
yeah. I mean, it's the high FTV playbook, right? Those companies are now kind of they're doing what's the opposite of reaping the reward in English? They're doing the opposite. Like they kind of have to, they have to now take they swallow the pill
Oh,
because
reap what they
they back
sow.
then
I see. Yeah, it's not. It's yeah,
kind of
reap what they
yeah,
sow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They
Got it.
kind of have to reap what they sow because they raised hundreds of millions, I think 150 mil or something in
Yeah,
their funding rounds.
right.
If you raise that amount of money, you have to raise at a huge valuation and a huge FTV. And then if you launch your token at a huge FTV, what are the multiples? What are the multiples you can get, right?
Yeah,
Like the token launch of ME, like at the valuation they launched, the 10x would make them one of the most valuable assets in the whole world. It's kind of unrealistic, right? So
yeah.
just like from my point of view, it's a flawed token launch system. And I have a very strong opinion of this because we at Solana ID are doing the opposite playbook, literally the opposite.
Yeah.
Because I believe it's not community centric at all. And the airdrop was a good idea because it caught a lot of attention, and I think it was executed in an okayish way. Because there were a lot of people that were also bullish on my timeline. They got huge allocations, a lot of thankful appreciation posts I got. So there was a lot of people that were happy about it. But if you launch a token at such a high valuation, where a 10x is impossible, and you then get an airdrop from that project, what's the first thing you're gonna do? Wait
Yeah.
for
So
10x? Probably not. you're
yeah,
gonna
right,
you're gonna sell it. You're gonna
right,
you're
right,
gonna
right.
cash out and see where the price goes, right? And that's exactly what happens. So yeah, everyone who got an ME drop, good for you guys. I hope you made the money off it, or if you're still bullish on it and you kept holding it, then also great. But yeah, what's the current situation there? On the ME chart and on the numbers.
Oh man, atrocious, atrocious. Um, they haven't quite recovered. It's just been a steady trend downwards. But hey, you know what? I almost feel it's price discovery in a corrective way, and at some point people will actually it'll be oversold. So and then they'll be able to build it back up from there, perhaps even to new all-time highs. But obviously, launching at that FTV, as you rightfully mentioned, makes it very difficult for people to kind of believe in long-term holding of the token. But it's
Yeah,
not
I
just
mean,
a ME this week. That we also got PENGU, we another Ethereum project, NFT project that's launched a token on Solana. Just launched like
today.
30 minutes ago. Yeah, today.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
literally today, 17th of December. We're covering it live with you guys in the live stream. And everyone who listens to the pod a few days later, this literally happened this week. Pengu launched their token on Solana, which is associated to their Ethereum NFT collection, Pudgy Pendrites. What do you think about that
Yes.
fact? First of all, that they chose Solana for launching their token as an OG Ethereum NFT collection.
Yeah. So like we were very early on this news. Like we covered this, I think, like 2 weeks ago when it was first announced. And my opinion then is very similar to my opinion now. Solana is where all the retail action is at, and that's why people are coming here. You might have larger dollar sizes and like bigger TVL on Ethereum, but if you're looking at like where real retail, like the next marginal user and like what chain they choose, it's going to be Solana. And the projects are kind of going to where the action is. It's just what you do.
It's true, and I think like a big reason why they launched on Solana, I think I've heard them talk about this actually publicly, is that the fees are so much cheaper to trade the token, and for them it was a no-brainer to choose Solana for that.
Yeah,
But I think actually this is super positive for crypto as a whole, because what does this prove? I think it proves that we are able to do interoperable crypto plays here with no kind of bad feelings, because the Pudgy team, like they are ETH OGs, I would say, right? But they
yeah,
seem not to be ETH maxis. They don't care about those kind of camps that we build ourselves, right? Like either you're
yeah.
Solana or Ethereum. You don't have to be. You can have your huge NFT collection on Ethereum, and then you can utilize some other L1 for the token just because it makes sense. And I think that's super bullish for the whole ecosystem. I think that's great.
I think that let's put it this way. I think that the Solana retail is like much more mercenary and happy to accept other projects than the other way around, right? Like I'm not quite so sure Ethereum. I mean, like the L2s, I think they don't mind if you're a Solana project, but just generally speaking, like our retail is just very much like, hey, can you make me money? Then I could really care less about where you launch your NFT collection, right? Unless you're Frank. And the reason why Frank gets so much shit is because he's an example of someone who was here, had the top NFT projects, like two of them here, bailed for Polygon, which was clearly the wrong move, and then came back, and it feels like capitulation. Whereas like Pudgy just kind of feels like, OG ETH project, and like happy to have you if you want to make the switch. So yeah, and I mean, obviously Solana's where most of the retail capital is. So very excited for the Pudgy launch.
I mean, it's a much more community centric launch, that's for sure. Like they
Yeah,
really focus on the community, and they have a very good airdrop campaign, in my opinion, live right now, where you can actually claim your pudgies. I think yeah, I can actually claim.pudgypendreams.com for people that want to make sure that this is actually make sure that's right. You got the right link if you want to check your
Yeah,
allocation. It's claim.pudgypendreams.com.
yeah.
And yeah, over there you can check with your ETH wallet and your Sol wallet if you have an allocation of the Pudgies. And yeah, if you have an OG wallet that goes very back, way back, you might even get an allocation without being an NFT holder. But obviously, the NFT holders are getting their chunk, which is perfect. That's the way it should be, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think not too bad. Like well played by Pudgy. I'm pretty bullish on that token, honestly, overall. And I think they did a good job there. They also didn't really need to pay a lot of money to get listed on exchanges. It was the opposite, which is great. Exchanges want them.
Net new users, man. That you can't be an exchange and not have the Pudgy token. Otherwise, people will just trade on other exchanges to do it. So, not even the last token launch. There's still more. There's a Streamflow. I mean, you want to walk us a little bit more through the Streamflow?
For sure. My friends from Streamflow, the team around Malisha, the co-founder or the founder of Streamflow, they are building the vesting and locking platform on Solana, where projects like us also can basically put our tokens in smart contracts and then activate the vesting in a very secure way to facilitate investors vesting or whoever wants to get their allocation in a monthly vesting or even a daily vesting. They have a lot of features that they put on their platform. And Streamflow has been used since a long time by a lot of OG projects. They have millions, if not billions, I think they have billions in capital that they invested through Streamflow. So the stats of Streamflow, the product itself, are really good. The product is really good. It is acknowledged in the Solana ecosystem as the go-to tool for investing. So that's bullish. The token itself is more like a governance play. So it doesn't really have a huge utility inside of the product in terms of the product utility. But it aims to capture the success of Streamflow overall in the token, and it aims to incentivize people to or enable people to govern protocol decisions and future product decisions and so on. So it will be used mainly as a governance tool to my knowledge. And yeah, Stream is live as of today as well. They literally launched at the same time than PENGU. Not sure if that's a strategically good thing to do, but I don't think it's a big problem. It's a very different token, I would say, with a very different value proposition. What do you think about Streamflow?
I think that they have one of the best BD engines in the entire game. The first time that I met the Streamflow boys was Luis over in Paris, which ETHCC at like 2023, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, it's like every single freaking event, it's like new like. And the thing is, like, it's not just like one guy that does the BD. I feel like they have like a solid like 4 or 5 guys that do BD for Streamflow, and they're everywhere all at once. So I think their coverage is very good, and I think that they. And by the way, especially for a business like Streamflow, it's very important that they get as many projects to use their tools, and it makes a lot of sense for projects that want to be able to pay out their founders or different investors in all on smart contracts and all on chain. So like you don't worry about someone saying one thing and then doing another, right? So Streamflow allows people to work in a trustless way, which I really appreciate. So both in terms of product as well as just my own experiences on. And by the way, I bet on, for plays like this, I bet on teams, not tokens, right? So that's why I feel like it's relevant to kind of talk about their BD in that context. Is that like what's one bullish piece of information that I have that other people might not, is that they operate at a high level. Is all I need to say.
And I agree. Like as a second opinion here from another person that is quite well connected with Solana ecosystem, I can tell you as well that Streamflow is doing a very good job on the BD side of things. I haven't seen the chart yet. That's very interesting. We're trading at a 200 million FTV. Wow. Okay, that's not bad. With 3,000 holders, that's not bad as well. So yeah, pretty good to see. I think their token launched pretty well. They did a collaboration with BonkPad, with
Yeah,
the launch pad from Bonk, which is utilizing the Meteora Alpha Vault. So it's kind of a Meteora BonkPad play. The Alpha Vault was heavily oversubscribed, I think 400% or some shit. They had
sure.
like a 1.2 million TBL or something in the Alpha Vault, which was very good. And now like in the Alpha Vault, people could buy into the token at a fixed price. and now the
Yeah.
token is trading live.
I wish Jupiter had worked on, the token launchpad around this timing, right? I think it was slightly too early when they announced it, which was I think it was November or October of 2023. They didn't know what the market was going to look like in a year's time or whatever, if Trump was going to be president. I mean, like, that was so far out, right? But obviously, a project like LFG, probably would have been much more successful in this context than it was last year. Even though last year wasn't necessarily even like bad market conditions or anything like that, it's just clearly even better now. And with, let's say, projects like Bonk Live, they do an amazing. They've basically kind of taken over, I think, that gap in the market that Jupe LFG did leave. So it's good. It's good to see more projects working with Soulport Tom. He's obviously a legend. Huge fan of his. I heard he like single handedly derugged the Taiko community, which is like one of the OG NFT projects on Solana. I don't know if you've heard that story. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's you know that kind of like robotic Gundam PFP that he has, right?
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's an OG Solana FT project, and like he, for I think a year and a half, maybe even three. It's been a very long time. It's been a labor of love. He wasn't even like elected or anything. He's just been the guy that's been pushing the Taiko community, and also like swept the floor multiple times to maintain floor price. So I mean, just like all around, very very cool dude who's been giving back to the space. So cool to see him
nice.
score some major wins with friends like Streamflow. So that's Militia. Congratulations on your TGE, man. Wish you all the best going forward in the future. And also, Soulport Tom, congratulations on yet another successful launch. This is amazing. Good to see where Bonk Live is going.
I agree with everything, and also shout out to Manisha. Well done. Let's see how Stream is trading going forward. But that's not all. There's more launches going on Solana. Let's talk about a product launch.
Yeah, Ranger. So big congrats to the boys. Fatu, Barrett, Kobe. I think Edgar is working with them as well. So Ranger Finance kind of does two things. Number one, it's a dashboard for perps, perpetuals on Solana, and also it's a kind of like a perps aggregator. So you can think of it as Jupiter, but for perps, right? So it's routing like all the different sources of liquidity together, so that I suppose you would always get best price. Like, I'm not much of a perps trader myself because trading on leverage scares the shit out of me. But this is the product. They built everything from scratch. So happy for them. Obviously, I think there are huge fans of Ranger all around the world. Lily Liu, the president of Solana Foundation, is also an investor in Ranger. I think Akshay as well. So just all in all, very very bullish on the team. I know that they're moving very very aggressively. So yeah, happy for them, and can't wait to see where they go. You got any thoughts on the Ranger launch, brother?
I've been talking to the team or to the one of the founders in South Korea actually at a conference, and they convinced me back then that the product is dope, just from talking to
Yeah,
them because I love perps, I love trading, and if this can help me to get better trading experience with perps, then this can be a huge win. I mean, we know how well Jupiter is working, right? As an
yeah,
aggregation. Now, if you do the same thing with perps, I think it's a genius idea. And if they manage to build even slightly more efficient perp decks that works more efficiently than just going on Flash Trade or just going on Jupiter perps, then obviously this is a superior product, right? So I think that
yeah.
it can potentially work out very well.
Have you seen the a little bit of drama between big borrow and lend versus big perp?
No, I don't. I'm not familiar. You look me in.
It's just like right now, Marius from Camino. I mean, like, obviously he's the poster child of like big borrow and lend, like that industry. And so he wrote a piece recently, basically like shitting on how expensive perps are, and how, because perps are so expensive, it doesn't make it worth it to at all. So I don't know if yes, morning violence. Sometimes that I forget that on perps you pay the funding rate on the notional size rather than on the collateral size, which to me is kind of like duh. Of course you would. But yeah, essentially he's just like shit talking perps, right? He's like, why use perps to get your leverage when you can use borrow and lend to do a looping strategy and you'd pay a lot less fees. But obviously, like with a looping strategy, often it's much more, I think, a pain in the ass to get the leverage that you want. But still, effectively, you get the same leverage. Whereas with perps, it's like very much like more of a one click experience.
I
Um,
mean, honestly, I think the reason why it works right now really well is because people are still in P&L profitable, like they're still P&L positive. Like as long as my fees don't eat my profit, I feel like I have a good experience. I feel like I have a good
yes,
trading experience, even if I pay $200 on my 1K profit, right? I'd be like, okay, free money. I take the $800.
right,
But I think if you dive deeper and you see how much money you actually paid over the course of 1 year trading on a perp dex and how much money you left on fees,
yeah.
maybe that kind of is a wake up call. That would be a content piece I'd like to see.
Sure. Well, I mean, but here's the content right here is with Barrett. So Barrett is one of the co-founders of Ranger. He's kind of like firing back at Marius, and he's all like, "Well, of course you would write something like that because you're one of the biggest protocols working on borrow and lending, right? So here's the math." And there's a little bit of I mean I recommend anybody to take a look at the exchange and judge for yourself. But yeah, there does seem to be a little bit of drama brewing between representatives of like the big perp industry versus like the big borrow and lend industry. And obviously, like Camino and Ranger are going to be on opposite sides of the philosophical spectrum. So might be end up being the next Solend versus MarginFi.
Interesting. Yeah, let's happy to see that play out. It was Cobra who I met in South Korea. Now that I see the PFP,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
good guy and great product. I think Ranger could be a good thing. I'll definitely try to play around with it.
We got a couple of stories about Barrett, but we'll save that for another day.
Hmm. I'm curious, but okay, let's save it for another day.
Uranium on chain. What the fuck? I mean, if we have gold on chain, like why not also if you have sources of uranium to, collateralize a token? RWAs, RW, it's literally any real world asset. I mean, that's the vision. Why not?
Makes a ton of sense to me because obviously uranium is something you can trade in the real world. So why not on chain, right? Everything you can trade in the real world can be RW8 and put on chain, right? So
Yeah.
I
The-
haven't heard of them actually. Or uranium digital, is that trading on Solana?
yes, it is. It is. So very happy to add a new member to the RWA family. This one I wasn't even It's funny because, like, obviously, the experience of trading uranium is just like the experience of trading any. I don't know if you would consider this a commodity, but like any commodity
I guess
is
so. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, when I think of a commodity, I just think of something that's like much more common. Whereas, like, I don't know, uranium isn't like corn, you know?
Well, I mean, and to an extent, it is. It has a utility in the real world. It's being
Sure,
used for us, for example, to produce energy. So I guess there's a
sure,
demand
sure.
for it. Same for
Yeah.
corn. So I guess, yeah, it's
I'll be
utility.
honest with you. I didn't even know that you could trade uranium like on an exchange. Like I just was. I thought that was very highly regulated. But this, I understand there must be some forms of uranium that are legally tradable. So that was a little bit surprising to me. But yeah, don't need to spend too much time on it. I just thought it was a big splashy headline that we have
It's kind of
uranium
a
on
fun
Solana
fact.
now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's something you can talk about with your friends and family when they ask you what is Solana. Well, they are building the financial layer for the internet where you can trade real world assets like uranium completely digitally, permissionless on chain.
No, totally. Access to access, and it makes these types of stories make it a lot easier to convince people that Solana and chains like it are real world. They have real world use cases with real assets that you could make the very easy case for like, hey, let's say you're a guy in Nigeria, right? It's like you might not even have a bank account. Like all you got is like a P2P experience where like you're giving money to your friend, he's giving you crypto in your wallet, and now you can get exposure to uranium, right? Like he has no way to get exposure to uranium if he wants it, right? then then literally he doesn't even need to do KYC or anything like that, which I think is beautiful. Permissionless finance is beautiful because there are too many people in the world. I mean, they might not have the most money, but at least they get some exposure to more complex financial instruments, which I just think is just is better for the world in general.
I think it's a road to more equality, I would say, overall. When we talk about humankind as it is today and society, which is a net positive for the world.
Yeah, right. Like, despite the fact that I'm a flaming liberal, I believe more in equality of opportunity than I believe in equality of outcome. You have to give everyone a fair shake, and part of giving someone a fair shake is giving them access to the same quality of financial instruments that even a billionaire would have. Like obviously, a billionaire would have access to private opportunities that none of us would have access to.
That's what ICOs were about. That's what pre-sales are about. That's what all this is about. We just want to make access to financial instruments as early as possible and as easy as possible.
Yeah.
That's the beauty about crypto.
And I think that leads us into a super natural segue for I think what I'm most excited for this week, which is the launch of your token, Simon. It's this Thursday, and
Yes,
I'm
sir.
full disclosure here because I feel like it's kind of ethical to say, but I am an investor in Solid. So like this is not financial advice. Look into the fundamentals of the project and decide for yourself. Not telling you to ape into Solid because obviously that is my financial interest, but I am legitimately very excited for your launch, probably because I've been tracking it for so long, just knowing you so personally. So yeah, tell us about the launch, man.
Well, I mean, not gonna lie, it's the most important week of the year for us. Not as it's packed right now,
Yeah,
and yeah, we're all hands on deck because the TGE is obviously a very important part of every crypto project's journey, because it's important for all our stakeholders, investors, community, and also for our team because we are utilizing the token also. Like to represent the financial growth of the Solana ID ecosystem. It will accrue all the value that the protocol accrues, essentially, and it will also help us to bootstrap or not bootstrap, but to financialize or monetize the product itself. Because the utility of the token itself inside of the Solana ID product that's about to launch in January is, amongst other things, to redistribute profits that Solana ID makes as a protocol back to the data owners of their identity accounts, which are Solana ID holders, right? So Solana ID holders, they basically accrue solid in their wallets from sharing the data. That's the easy pitch without diving deeper into that. And then they can either hold their tokens or they can even lock their tokens. We call it reputation staking. So they can lock their tokens in their ID profile to increase their solid score, which gives them in turn more perks on chain. So it's a whole value loop in motion, and we're super excited for Thursday. We're so excited that we're hosting an open end stream, a TG live stream. I have no idea how long this might go. It might go for a couple hours. Probably it will, because we're starting at 4 p.m. UTC, 1 hour before we open the gates to the launch, the public sale, the launch pad. We chose our friends from Swissborg to launch, and they built a brand new launchpad. We had the co-founder of Blockpad on the Thor Brothers podcast as well, Daniel.
yeah,
And yeah, so I think they have a very good approach. They are very aligned with what we believe is the right way to launch a token, which is community first. You don't need to raise multi-million funding round if you don't really need it as a protocol. We raised a small amount of money for compared to other projects, $1 million. And now we are also launching the token at a humble valuation of 20 mil FDV in the public sale, which is still a very good valuation for people to buy in. So 20 mil is going to be available on the block pad, which opens at 5 p.m. UTC, with priority access, obviously, to Solana ID priority pass holders, which are our users. Once we sell out on Blockpad, we go straight on Dexes. So Solid will be live trading on Thursday evening UTC time. We're going to open our launch pools or our liquidity pools right after the public sale. And then the journey begins.
yeah. No, I mean like TGE. I think you're very aligned with this. Is just the beginning of any project. It's not like obviously there's some teams that have just been sprinting towards a TGE for years now, right? Which honestly, in the grand scheme of like how companies normally work, is 4 years time because it's for Solana. That's literally the entire lifetime of Solana, right? It's not that long, quite frankly, right, to be working on a project. But obviously, in crypto, it feels like a million years. It feels like kind of holding out on. I mean, because Magic Eden has been here fucking forever, right? And they're just doing their TGE now, which is inconceivable. You would have imagined that Magic Eden, especially during the last cycle, would have launched something, but they haven't yet, right? So they finally did. And at such a high FDV, like we're talking about, currently it's sitting at 3 billion, but imagine like where it was like even a few days ago, right? So, to see projects like Solana D that fortunately the timing worked out. So, like you've been on Solana for the last year, bull market hits towards the end of that year.
It played out so well. Not going to lie. I'm very grateful for the timing
Yeah.
because that's not in my hands. Like we kind of gambled for this, for the timing, right? Because market
Yeah.
can fuck you. And we were like, okay, let's just do Q4 2024, and let's hope that we got blessed with a good market. And if not, we're going to pull through anyway, right? It was clear
Yep.
we're going to launch in 2024. We did not anticipate Bitcoin all-time high in December, honestly. Here's one reason why I think Solana ID is very bullish right now. We built a product, a lightweight version of Priority Pass, which is literally just a proof of concept. So we're still pre-product, but the roadmap is pretty clear. The beta version is going to launch in January. But we're launching the token so early, we never delayed it. We're launching it so early that our valuation is still very affordable for people to buy into. So you can literally be part of the Solana ID protocol success from a very early moment on. And even our private rounds, they were not private. Like until now, we already have more than 1,000 investors in our private rounds, which is
Mhm.
ridiculous. Don't ask me how I did it, but a big part played the pre-sale on Swissborg Alpha, which was a pre-sale on the Swissborg centralized exchange application, where you got a lot of investors with small ticket. So we're very community centric, and I think we are kicking off the community super cycle in crypto, where projects launch much more community centric. They fuck sexes. They go on chain. They stay on the decks as long as possible. They don't accept the kind of crazy sexed NBC cabal deal where you get term sheets and you need to accept them to put that logo on your website. That's the quick fix. It's not the only way, and we're trying to set a new standard here. So yeah, anticipating the 19th of December. That's this week, Thursday. If this podcast is going to air before, it might air on that same day in the morning. Then you
Yeah.
can anticipate the solid free sale yourself, or the public sale yourself. You can even join our live stream on Thursday. If it airs one day later, then you can look back at the solid TG.
So major congratulations, man, and very much looking forward to the launch. So waiting with
Thank you
bated
very
breath. So yeah, I'd love to kind of talk about some other stuff that's going on in the Solana ecosystem. So just want to bundle together two funding announcements, both from friends of the podcast. The first is Netrunner, which is run by the Radiance DAO folks. So I think you know Seb Moriarty, and also like Kimo Sabe. There's a bunch of these guys over at Radiance DAO. They've gotten investment from a lot of our close friends, the Soulflare team, as well as Renji, Young, and Nam. They're all investing in this kind of like tax tool this is more America centric, but I imagine that they'd love to spread out to other countries as well. I've seen a demo of the product, very bullish on them. So Netrunner has raised some money, as well as Sphere. Sphere has raised $5 million in capital for folks who aren't. Also,
much.
another U.S. specific project, but Sphere just makes it very easy to on and off board into crypto with like almost zero fees. Again, it only works for American citizens right now, but obviously the co-founders of Sphere are absolutely cracked. So very very proud of these two friends for raising some money recently.
I love that. Some new names on the block, some new projects on the block that are making waves. So that's great. I love that. I love that. I like to see new logos up here. And looking forward to see more, especially from Netrunner, because they seem to be quite early still,
Yeah.
raising a pre-seed round. So yeah, let's see what that leads to.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Other stuff to talk about. This is a little bit kind of old news. It's only been a week, but somehow feels like old news. Pump.fun, total profit, lifetime profit, as of last week, and also the price of Sol that week was $362 million. What in the fuck, dude? That's crazy.
It is fucking nuts. It's fucking.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. Wait a second. How much?
1.6
Two
million Sol.
1.6 million SOL
Yeah.
in revenues.
Yeah.
360 million.
So they should just
Wow.
start their own validator at this point,
Yeah, for sure.
put
They're
it into
printing.
LSTs, but they don't. They just put it into Kraken, which like blows my fucking mind.
That's bearish. That's bearish on the
Yeah.
team. I don't like that at all. Why would you pull that amount of money out of the Solana ecosystem, guys? That actually proves the point that Pump Fund is they're not like us. I'm sorry to say
Um.
that, but they're not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like they're not net positive for the ecosystem, honestly. Like they did some. They obviously they moved a lot of leverages in the ecosystem. They triggered a lot of things, which is good.
Yeah.
Um, but there've been a few decisions that they made that I'm not happy with.
Yeah, I wish this wasn't just like all Kraken deposits, but like was they were actually using that soul within the ecosystem, which would be a lot more fun, I think.
Yeah,
But
and like imagine putting 1.6 million. I still
uh,
confused about the number. It's 1.6. Imagine putting 1.6 million Sol on a validator. Like how
yeah,
much are you printing per month? Just from
right,
validating the chain. Like that's a great source of passive revenue. What else do you want to do with that money, right? So anyway,
right,
that's obviously a very biased take because we're the Super Bowls, we're the Sol brothers.
sure.
Um, but yeah, let's leave it there.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like there's two approaches to things. It's like, hey, I only care about this one thing. So anything that's not that thing, I'm just gonna not spend any amount of time evaluating the risk of. So an example of this would be like stablecoins in your treasury, and like I'm very biased here and very bitter about it because like I've tried to talk to like very intelligent teams who are clearly very smart, but like as soon as you try to talk to them about like what they should do with like their treasuries, to me their positions are indefensible and very dumb, right? It's all like, why are you giving into like big stablecoin, right? So big stablecoin would be Tether and Circle. It's all like, you should support more Solana native projects and also like spread out the risk and like maybe even consider using some of your stables to deposit into a borrow and lending protocol to earn extra yield and also support the ecosystem. But that's my bias though, as like a stablecoin maxi, and like wanting to see growth of like stable, just Solana stablecoins as a whole, not in terms of just TVL, but also the number of quality projects, right? And you can't do that without people, and especially protocols who are willing to take that risk, and they're just not willing to take that risk. And so, like, I view it very much in the same way here, right? Which is all like, okay, like I get it, like you might not be willing to put in the additional thought, but to me, it seems like a no brainer. Again, this is like another no brainer case of like, dude, you're sitting on 1.6 million like soul. There's so much more you could do with that. It would be good for the network and it would be good for you. It would be a win-win, right? But again, like as you said, we're both soul maxis, so perhaps our perspective on this is a little colored.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe one more small topic for today before we
yeah,
wrap up, because there's a new hackathon on the block as well right
yeah,
now, actually hosted by Solana Foundation themselves, right?
yeah. I think is it Foundation that's putting this on?
Pretty sure, yeah. It's a huge Solana
Okay,
Foundation AI
I
hackathon. Yep,
see.
I'm pretty sure it is. And
Very cool.
yeah, so what are we looking at? We have an AI hackathon that's already going on right now. People are actually taking part in it. It started on the 10th of December, and right now we have another week, a little bit less than a week, actually almost 1 week, yeah, to
Yeah,
participate in it. And yeah, there's a few prizes up for grabs as well. I think $200,000 worth of prizes that can be claimed here. And yeah, Solana Foundation just wants to accelerate the whole AI and agent movement that's going on right now, which is huge. And shout out also to our friends from Pen AI. Irfan is behind that project, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, he has been pushing the whole ecosystem a lot in Solana. Irfan is a great guy, and I'm happy that he found his calling now with Send AI, pushing the
yeah.
the AI narratives.
Yeah. I mean, he's working on everything. He's working on Blinks. He's working on AI. He's working on whatever is the
Yeah,
latest thing on Solana. Irfan is
exactly.
working on it.
He's the guy.
I
Yeah.
actually know the project not through Irfan, but through Yash. So Yash is also just another great technical writer on Solana. He's written a lot of great pieces, and like not only on just like Solana in general, but stablecoins specifically. So I mean, that's obviously my first introduction into anything. Is always the stablecoins are the gateway drug that get me to everything else.
I love that
But
line.
my understanding is that Irfan and Yash put a lot of effort. I heard they put this all together in 3 days, which is quite phenomenal. I don't know how that's
I
even
can imagine.
possible. Yeah, but whatever.
Well,
They're
if I'm on fire, he's just
yeah.
a cracked dude. He's crazy.
So congrats to
Um,
them.
but yeah, no, I mean AI hackathon. I think that shout out to the hackathon itself. So if people want to participate in there are prizes up for grabs, and you can tinker on some AI agent topics together with Solana. So I think people should definitely take the opportunity. And a fun fact about the AI hackathon is that one of the judges in the panel is an AI agent, which is actually super funny. So yeah, I learned about that and I love it. I love the concept. It's an agent. It's not a human, but it's trained to analyze projects
Sure.
from the hackathon that gets
Yeah.
submitted, and he will give you your take, and he has the same voting rights as the other members in the judge panel. Basically, pretty cool. I love that.
One of the judges for this hackathon is not just that bot, but also Maddie from Coliseum. And he wrote this thread where he said, like, he's reviewed, I could be misquoting this, but I think he said that he's reviewed over 7,000 different AI related submissions for hackathons just throughout the years. So I was just thinking, you would want to take judges like that who have had experience just judging a bunch of AI projects and like just have them train their thoughts into like the agent, and the agent would just be able to do that more efficiently and like not get exhausted, I suppose.
I mean, that's looking forward. This is pretty crazy. We will see things like this completely run by agents in future, right?
Yeah,
Um, because those are analytical tasks that you don't need to be human for that. You don't need
yeah,
to have emotional capabilities to judge a project from hackathon. Probably the
sure.
opposite is even better. So maybe the agents are the better judges than the humans.
Right, right. I only get kind of. I'm wondering whether or not AI agents can get a sense of novelty, because novelty is very hard to train for, right? Like it's you want something that's both plausible but also novel. And I'm not quite so sure we have the words to quite, because it's different each time. That's what makes it very hard, because as soon as you think that the new meta is cute animals, then it goes from cute animals into specific, like let's say phenomenon, right? And it goes from specific phenomenon into AI agents, and it's all like, then how do you predict what the fourth new wave of meme coins or where the capital will flow, right?
I think it is actually pretty possible, and I'm sure people do it already because there's a lot of data in the internet. You just have to be very good at scraping Twitter, and you'll understand what novel feels like. I think if you analyze like what are people
Possible.
talking about on Twitter, what's the social media sentiment towards things, right, and topics and narratives,
Yeah.
and agents and algorithms can analyze that much better than humans.
But it suggests that if you have an agent that can perfectly predict what will be the next novel thing that people put money on, you can literally predict the future then. But that doesn't seem like that would be, my gut tells me that doesn't seem possible. So like I don't know, we'll see.
I guess 2025 is going to be an interesting year.
Yeah,
We're gonna see more of agents and AI topics popping up. It's a huge topic right now. All Silicon Valley is full of AI. So I think 2025 will be very interesting in that sense. We see a lot of interesting projects, and I think agent meme coins, we covered them before. They are a rare breed of meme coins that I think are quite bullish. So those would be some that I would put in my long-term holdings. Even I'd consider them to be interesting compared to some of the animals that have a shorter lifespan. Not actual animals, I mean the tokens around them. Um, so yeah,
one thing that I really appreciate about this podcast is like I discover a bunch of new things on this podcast that end up becoming very clearly the meta like 2 or 3 weeks later, right? Like we will first, it's when we first talk about something, I feel like often we don't have a sense of how big the thing will become. It's just kind of like, oh, there's this like kind of new thing. But then you see it play out over the next month and it's like, oh shit, this got very big. And it's only looking back that I realized we were early on it. And that's not like a flex or anything like that. It's more of a, it's surprising to me how much stuff we cover that ends up being super big that at the time does not feel very big. Like I did not have a sense of like how big AI agent coins would be. Like I just thought it was like a one-off, like Goatius Maximus was my first exposure to it. And I just thought that would be the end of it. It would just be that token. And then like, but no, it actually ended up, Goatius Maximus actually ended up being the signal for an entire wave of billions of dollars of investment into AI agent coins, which I did not foresee happening at all.
and that, my dear friend Eno, is a perfect segue into our outro for today.
Yeah,
Because I think that's exactly what we should do here in the Soul Brothers podcast. We should intend to predict the future to a certain extent and front run narratives, front run the next big things that are happening, because that's, I think, what provides real value to listeners. That's something I would want to listen to, because if I can dial into a podcast every week that gives me a good wrap up of what's happening right now on the ground in Solana, and B, an idea of what might happen in the next weeks, then I think that's huge. very valuable because our attention right now is being pulled from so many sides, and I want to have one single hour in my week that I can dedicate to a kind of a condensed discussion between two people like
Yeah.
ourselves, that I can listen to get a good sense of what's happening now and in the future. So that's what Soul Brothers shall be going forward as well. And we're doing these recordings on a lively rhythm. On a weekly rhythm right now. So usually every Monday we record. Today it's a Tuesday. We record it in a live stream session, so people can actually tune in and listen to our recordings live if they really want to get the alpha at that very moment. So we have 200 people right now that are listening live to the stream. So shout out to you guys. And also shout out if you are a listener to the Soul Brothers. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the time in your week to get the latest updates from the Solana ecosystem. And we will keep at it. It has been a pleasure as usual. Do you have anything you want to say for the closing remarks, or are we good to go?
Vote solid, get solid. You know what I mean?
Here you go. Here you go. That's my man. That's my man.
So
Thanks for
see
the
you in the
shout out.
order
I
books,
appreciate
bro.
that. See you on our TG live stream on Thursday, guys. Make sure to follow what's happening at Solana ID, but most importantly, make sure to tune in again when it's time to record another Soul Brothers podcast. Stay up to date and show us some love on our social media accounts because we're just getting started with the Soul Brothers. I wish you a good night. I
Yeah,
hope you can go
appreciate it.
back to sleep. And thanks
Adios.
everyone for dialing in again. I see you guys at the next one.
Super appreciate it. Thanks, Simon. Take it easy.